Keegan, can't you just feel every fan other than a New England Patriots fan going, gosh, they had one of these guys in Tom Brady, and now they got another one of them in Drake Maye? Like, you could just
If you're
feel it.
if you're a New York Jets fan, like, you got to hate this guy, because it's not just the fact that you had to deal with Tom Brady for 20 years. Now you got to deal with him. It's like everything he does is perfect. Everything he says, he's asked about the MVP, and we've heard guys before be like, yeah, it would be awesome. I'd love to win the MVP. It's a goal. It's one of my goals. But for him, he's like, yeah, no, that'd be cool. Super Bowl immediately. Super Bowl before MVP, like, no doubt about it, no doubt in my mind. Which, if I'm a Jets fan, and I had to deal with Mark Sanchez and Sam Darnold and bad Sam Darnold, not good Sam Darnold, and Zach Wilson and Justin Fields, I'd be losing it about the fact that a team who has not been run very well in the last 5 years, being the Patriots, they have not been poorly run, I would use to describe them. And they make one good decision, and then they make another one with hiring Mike Vrabel, and all of a sudden they're back where they were for 2 decades. I hate this guy if I'm a Jets fan.
Look at some of the stats, right? He's obviously going up against a former NFL MVP in Lamar Jackson. You look at the comparison here from Lamar's 2019 season with what Drake Maye is doing this year. Obviously, a couple more wins. We still got some more games to play, but the completion percentage up above it, passing yards per game. That the passer rating, Lamar has a slight edge there, but that was a season that, Lamar just went into another gear, right? And it's all relative. It depends on, what other guys are putting out there on their resume when it comes to their statistics and their tape each and every year. But I think it very clearly demonstrates why Drake Maye is so clearly in this MVP conversation. You mentioned earlier, like, he really could have wrapped it up, had he gone out there and led this team on a game-winning drive against the Buffalo Bills. But look, I mean, it's still in front of him. And I said this on Monday, and I'll say it until we see it. I want to see that game-winning drive. It's something that a quarterback has to be able to do in this league. I don't doubt that Drake Maye will do it. And I think he'll probably do a lot of it over the years of his career. But I want to see that first one. I want to see it happen. And I just want to see him put the team on his back and be able to do that at crunch time. It's a question as to if we're going to be able to see that this weekend. I don't know. I mean, it depends on the game, right? I mean, this game means a ton to the Baltimore Ravens, just like it does the New England Patriots. They can New England can clinch their playoff spot with a win down there Sunday night in Baltimore. Baltimore is trying to find a way to win the AFC North, and the Steelers are like, no, we don't want to let you do that. We're not the most consistent team either, but we also don't want to see you take it. Because, I mean, really, like, the road to the playoffs for any of those teams in the North is win the division, because you got that AFC West out there that that has a whole lot of teams with. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. As you look at sort of moving forward, and what the playoffs could mean for the Patriots and who they could take on, like, I'll tell you, like, I don't want to see Houston. I think the Texans and the Broncos probably have the 2 best defenses in the league at this point in time. Like, that's who I would put up there. So I don't really want to see either of them in a first round matchup for the New England Patriots. You want to give me the Steelers? Sure. I mean, let's just not turn the ball over like last, earlier this season when they played. And you could get a different outcome there.
The path to a perfect first round matchup might be losing the division. Like, give me Pittsburgh. I'll play Pittsburgh any day of the week. No problem. Won't think twice about it. I wouldn't mind playing Jacksonville if I'm the Patriots, but given where they are and what the records are, if you win the division, you're not going to have fun in the wild card round, because Houston's defense is menacing, I think is the best word to describe them. Buffalo has seen you twice. You've seen them twice, but they got the upper hand more recently. And even though that game's at home, like, we saw what can happen. We saw who that quarterback is and what that team is capable of. Wouldn't want to face them. And then with the Chargers, in terms of the realistic options, I think they're the least scary team to play against. But I feel similarly about their quarterback as I do about a lot of the other guys I've mentioned, where come playoff time, just in terms of physical tools, that guy's up there with everybody else. Like, he's a top 3 talent at the position, and them being without 2 of their starting offensive linemen and with a defense that's kind of been up and down and that has some places that can be exploited, that's the team. If you had to pick one of the wild card teams, that's the one, but still not super confident in it. Like, it's turned out where we talked all year, and we'll still keep talking about it. The NFC is loaded. Like, don't want to play any of the teams on that side of the bracket. But the AFC, all the wild card teams are really good, and Denver's good.
Yeah.
It's just the division winners, interestingly enough, the Jacksonvilles and Pittsburghs and even New Englands of the world feel like they're not quite as scary as you would, normally see out of a division winner come playoff time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting, right? I mean, what is Jackson, Trevor Lawrence had 6 touchdowns last weekend. I think he's probably playing the best football that we have seen him play in this league, right? I mean, I feel like that match of Liam Cohen with him, like, as a coach, as a person, I feel like Liam Cohen is very fiery, and I feel like he's starting to pull that out of Trevor Lawrence. And if you're a Jags fan, you're like, yes, finally, like, show me something that's not laissez-faire, right? So I like that matchup for them this weekend in Denver is huge. Like, what are they going to do against this Broncos team? I'm very curious to see how that's going to go for both of those teams. Same with the Chargers playing a Cowboys team that's just not going to be an easy out. I mean, that's just not who, Dak Prescott is ever going to lead his team to be. So I'm curious to watch that one. I feel like as much as we sit there and think about the predictions of who you want the Patriots to play and who you don't, so much of it is, what are you riding those very last couple weeks of the regular season, and how do you make that carry over to either help you, or potentially hinder you once you're out there in your first win or go home game?
There's definitely plenty to learn too from not just the games you're playing in, but the games, like you mentioned, that LA Dallas game. If there was ever a team that's going to exploit the things that are exploitable on LA's defense, it is the Dallas Cowboys. Offensively, they're up there with, anyone. And I think they're similar to you in terms of what their strengths are. Like, they can throw the ball down the field. They can run it effectively. It's not like they're going to break a ton. I know saying this after Travion Henderson broke 2 50-plus yard touchdowns is a little bit silly, but that's just not what the Patriots have been historically, this season and then in past years. They're more of a, we'll go get 4 yards of carry and make you want to die by the end of the drive because we're just running it and running it and running it and you can't stop us. So I think they're a little bit closer to Dallas offensively than some teams might think. So it's going to be very interesting to see how can that defense be exploited. Where do you want to go with the football? And then with the Jacksonville-Denver matchup, it's like, all right, Trevor Lawrence, something has been unlocked. And I think this is kind of the peak of what he can be. We've seen it with a lot of guys who looked like busts early in their career. And then Sam Darnold is the example, right? He was, and Baker Mayfield, I guess, too. So those 2 guys, both the example, but flamed out where they were originally drafted. They move on. They kind of bounce around a little bit. And it's learning from all of these different offensive coordinators until they finally get to a place where somebody unlocks something. Trevor Lawrence didn't have to move around. And it's a little bit earlier for him where Liam Cohen comes in, and I think you hit the nail on the head with that fiery personality. It's their yin and yang. It is long blonde flow, like Cali style, Trevor Lawrence, whatever, dude. And then it's Liam Cohen, who is a dude from around here, like went to UMass. I've heard stories about Liam Cohen as a player. certified psychopath, really weird dude. And putting those two guys together in a kind of like you're merging two brains where they have to see everything the same way, but they're approaching it differently, has unlocked something for Trevor Lawrence. And if this is the best he can be, I think that's enough. That's enough for the Jaguars. They've started to build pieces around him. They're shelling out money to Jacoby Myers, who's a great player, but you better be damn sure you have your quarterback before you give that guy $20 million a year, because his entire job is to be a security blanket and a comfort piece for the quarterback that you already have in place. And they paid him already, so it's like, you're our guy. You've unlocked something. Let's see how far we can take it. They're riding really, really high, and now they're going to be facing a Denver defense that is tops in the league in a whole ton of categories. But if anybody was going to be able to figure something out against them, I think it's this Jacksonville team at this moment in time, with the way they're kind of approaching things and how high flying they've been. So two really big matchups for the Patriots outside of their own game, where I think advanced scouts, whoever the hell is going to be watching that tape, like, get your notepads out and start writing down the little things that you see that might be able to help you moving forward against those two teams.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and that's what this time of year becomes, right? I mean, you're either playing for the future to figure out who you want on your team next year, which, we know that story from the last few years here in New England, or you're out there scouting for what's ahead for your team. Well, the team itself is trying to take care of business and wrap up to put yourself in the best possible position when it comes to the playoffs. And you talk about what New England needs to do this weekend against this Ravens team that, like I said, has a ton to play for as well, right? I mean, they're trying to put this together. They pitched a shutout last week against Cincinnati, but they have not been playing their best brand of football. Even when they were rattling off back to wins and limiting offenses, it's like they were doing it against teams that have 2, 3, 4, 5 wins. Like, it's not like they were doing it against the best teams in the league. They weren't, and they haven't. So if you're New England, you're like, we got to go in there. We got to take care of things. I'll tell you one thing that I'm definitely watching is that red zone touchdown allowance by this New England defense. It's the worst in the league. Once a team gets into the red zone, we talked about this last week. We saw Josh Allen and the Bills absolutely execute on it time and time again. I think they were 5 for 5 when they got in the red zone last week. 75% of opponents are scoring once they're in the red zone against this New England defense. Guess what? That is not the Baltimore Ravens' strength, right? They can't get in. They're only getting in under 50% of the time. So can this be a game that can help this Patriots defense slow it down, contain them if they get in there, and only see them walk away with 3 instead of, with 6 or 7? That's something that I'm keying in on in this game.
It's the stoppable force versus the movable object. Like, neither one of these teams want to figure it out down in the red zone. I think the Patriots offensively started to, like, all right, Drake May can run around a little bit. Let's utilize those legs. It makes no sense that Baltimore can't with who they have. You have 2 huge tight ends. You have the best running quarterback in NFL history and a running back who weighs 250 pounds, and you can't score in the red zone. That is coaching. That is not a personnel issue. So that will be interesting. To me, it's the other side. It's Josh McDaniels. We heard a lot this week, and I think a lot of it was talk radio, fodder. It's a lot of, 100%. Maybe they're making him call plays a certain way. Maybe they're taking guys off the field because they don't want to pay him, the whatever's in their contract for playing time incentives. That's kind of garbage to me. What I do think is interesting is I think Josh McDaniels maybe got a little cocky, maybe got a little like, whoa, I got some pretty talented guys around me. Let's just go for it. Let's throw the ball down the field. We're ripping off long runs. So let's run some outside zone, some stuff that we haven't run in a few weeks on the ground. A lot of that stuff, I think, was maybe just bad decision-making from him. And it could be as simple as that. A guy who's been really good throughout the season and hasn't made a ton of poor decisions, made a few poor decisions. And his bounce back is just as important to me as Drake May's bounce back, because not
Yeah.
only will I know the script is going to be right, it's if you are able to build that lead again, how are you going to approach it? Because I don't think they're going to take away the
Yeah.
aggressiveness. I still think they're going to throw the ball down the field, but maybe picking your spots a little bit better and making sure that you have the right personnel on the field in 3rd and 1. Like 3rd and 1 throwing it down the field, that's getting cocky. That's all that is. If you have Stephon Diggs on the field, you're on a little whip route, go get yourself a first down. Now you can throw it down the field to Mac Hollins and get your PI or whatever you're looking for on that play. So his bounce back, just like I'm looking for Drake May's bounce back, will be the thing that I'm going to have a keen eye on, because I do think, knowing Josh McDaniels and having watched him call offenses for 15 years, it's not very often that you have back-to-back just poor decision-making weeks from him. It's usually one or the other. It's guys not executing or him not making the right decisions. They're gonna put both of those pieces together eventually, and I think it's gonna be this week.
Yeah. Baltimore has allowed 30 plus points per game when they've played teams over 500 on the season. So this should be a week that this Patriots offense gets going, gets rolling, and finds a way to stack up some points in this game.